Good afternoon, Soma and Soma ma'am, I must say, being my senior. And I'm really, really grateful that you
Good afternoon.
finally, yeah, finally agreed to give this interview to me on my research on women in architecture. And I will be extremely grateful forever for this because it's getting very difficult to get appointments from women, to be honest, which also tells me that women
No,
are
no,
very busy.
all pleasure. All pleasure. Pleasure is all mine.
Thank you
It's an
so much.
honor.
Yeah. So this is a research going on in lives of women in the profession, and where the women have taken different routes. And I would like to ask you a few questions, and that will go on record. And we are going to make a book out of it, and also a YouTube channel. So I will require your permission to do the recording. And the questions are very simple. Feel free to discuss and whatever you think you would like to add to the body of knowledge in this field of women in architecture. And at the same time, just be at your natural best. So, shall we record and shall we go ahead with the questions? All set?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So we will start your journey from the time where you chose to do architecture. I would like to know how was it in your high school, middle school, and how were you really thinking or not thinking, and how you landed up in Bachelor's of Architecture. What was it like?
Yeah. Actually, honestly speaking, in school I didn't know what is architecture. I did
Okay,
not know. I was a meritorious student in school. In 12th also, I got national scholarship. I was in the national merit list. And first of all, I cleared PET and I was into engineering with electronics. But after 2 months, suddenly the waiting list for architecture it appeared, and I had appeared in the entrance paper. We used to have one paper for architecture.
yes.
I had appeared in that, and so the waiting list appeared, and it showed that I have been selected. Means in the waiting list, I am there, and I can take admission in architecture. And it's very strange that my father is also a civil engineer, but he also didn't know what is really architecture. He said architecture it is related to art and technology, so it is good for girls. So it will be
Okay,
better for you to leave engineering and go to architecture. So then after 2 months studying engineering, electronics engineering, then I came for architecture. So this is how the journey started. And then after when I was in first year, I didn't understand what is architecture. But second year onwards, I fell in love with architecture. I thought, yes, this is if I would have known about architecture, then also I would have selected architecture since I was in school.
yeah. So,
So this is how it's.
yeah, very good. Because you said you were already in electronics engineer, which is also very rare for women in those days when we were doing engineering. And so you happen to be in architecture, and you realize that okay, I love it. Is it because in architecture we have to study less? Because I think both of us come from a very meritorious school background, and suddenly you are in this free
Yes,
zone where there is a lot of fun and less studies. Is
yes,
that the
you don't
reason?
need to study.
So
Yes,
so we
maybe that is also
one
a
of the reasons. I think
major
lot of interaction, lot
yes,
of interaction.
yes,
Because I also realized it right in the first year that okay, we don't have to take the load of so-called reading and studying so much, and there it can education can be fun as well. So
yes,
if I understand your background, and so also because I'm your junior from the undergraduate, when we were studying architecture, uh, I assume we had lesser situations where we had to, come into kind of a realization that, oh, I am a girl and I am or a woman in architecture. And we are going to be really facing some kind of issues. Did you really realize being a woman or girl in architecture, or it was just going, la 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 in the undergraduate?
Yes, I didn't no, I didn't realize that it is means I'm a girl, so it could be a problem or there's some discrimination. I think our college was good, so in that way, our colleagues were also the students, the boys who were studying with us, and there were no discrimination. And we didn't real like case studies, and for everything we used to go together. So there were not no discriminated jobs for girls and boys separately.
But
So
you
at
joined
that time,
because
I
of
didn't
being
realize.
girl. You joined because of being girl, and of course, because as suggested by the family.
Yes,
Hmm. No, but while
yes,
studying, I
joined.
mean, I will be honest also, like you, it was not a realization even for even one day that, okay, you are a girl or you are doing architecture. So do you think that was a privileged situation, that being girl and doing architecture and still, being so free in thoughts was a privilege to be here? Or we were still not realizing that gender is an issue in architecture?
I think till final year we didn't realize that gender discrimination means till the time we were doing undergrad course.
Hmm.
Till end we didn't realize.
No, but when you were reaching,
After that
uh,
when we went for jobs, then I realized, oh, I'm a girl, so it can be a problem. Means
yeah, so I was
that
about
time
to
I
come.
majorly
Hmm.
realized.
So you did realize, because I was about to ask that same question, that question related to that, when we were nearing our, first job in life, or career. Yeah, was it a realization
Yes,
already in the college that what next and how to really start? Because when we study, we know that most of the time there is promotion of, to practice architecture. All the focus is on to develop
yes,
professional architecture. There is not much focus to develop thinkers or to develop researchers or scientists. It was more about doing practice, doing job. So what was it during final years or early career, where you said that you were really feeling, okay, being woman is something different in the profession? What kind of experiences you will bring here?
means after passing out, means when
Final year
after
passing out.
passing out, first thing we realized. Yes, after passing out, myself and my friend Anita, we were going to architects' offices searching for job. So I remember Bharadwaj and Bharadwaj office. He said, since you two are girls and your working drawing quality is also good, so I would like to hire both of you. If you would have been a boy, then I would have hired only one. If you are girls, so I'll hire both of you. I'll keep both of you. So that time actually we were really thrashed. We came out and we were literally sitting on the footpath, and that was the first day we realized that we are girls, so it will be difficult for us for to survive in the profession. So then we came out, we were sitting on the footpath, and then we realized, and then we thought, no, now we'll go separately to other to offices and approach offices differently.
So
And then
probably,
yes, so after that, then we touched to all the offices, and he directly said, "You are girls, so I'll hire both of you."
so probably he was meaning he will hire both of you in price of one guy. He didn't say it. Maybe.
Maybe he was actually offering also very less. He was that time he
Hmm.
was offering only 850 rupees per head. And then we went to different offices. Anita also went to a separate office. So we started with 2500 INR, 2500 per month.
Hmm.
But he was offering us less than one third
So he was in a way
because
actually
we were
thinking
girls.
to have both of you, and that too who
Yes,
will be seated in the office and doing the drawings, because I mean, because your work drawings
yes.
were good, and then he can take care of it. That's interesting to know. Yeah. So how
Then he
long were you
made us
working?
realize that
Yes, he made
in
you
Delhi it
realize.
will be difficult for you to commute also. And he told us so many things, and it will be better if you two of you come together. So it will be good for you also. And I'll both of you, you are welcome to my office. You can come and join from tomorrow.
But you found it fishy. You found it fishy. How come in the earlier
Yes, we
career?
found it very fishy.
That's
Yes.
interesting because the other way to look at it is that you can also find it, like wow. So being a girl, he's really appreciating. I mean, with all good intentions, I'm sure he said those things because being in Delhi, girls together, so safety and comfort. So, but still you found it fishy, which already tells that you were daring to go, and take something more. So, how were you really looking at your early career?
Yes.
And I know that you also changed your course from there onwards and uh, took a new life to start with after a few years of working. How was it? I mean, to switch into family mode from being a free bird. How many years?
Switching to other city.
Other city, switching to
Oh,
family mode,
actually,
also
that is
how many
because
years?
of my marriage.
Huh.
That is another story. Actually, that in architect in Delhi, I was doing very well. My office was also very good. It was Mr. Salman Jafri, and they were young people, and they had made a startup, and it under the name Complete Billing Solutions Private Limited. And then from there, I used to make perspective drawings very nicely. So one of my friend, she was an interior designer. She showed my drawings to Ansals, and the chief architect of Ansal, he also then came up and he contacted me and he said, "You better come to our office and join us." And then after that, I was called by my parents, and because we were three sisters, I was the eldest. So my father was retiring in 97. He had the goal that before his retirement, two of the girls should be
To get
married.
married.
So then I came. Yes. So then the marriage was fixed. Within a week, the marriage was fixed, and then I had no other choice of leaving Delhi, and then I had to come to a very small town, small city. At that time, Indore was a developing city. So I came to Indore, and then in Indore, my husband was a that till that time he had become a well-known structural engineer. So I was not supposed to work under anybody. So I couldn't join, and because practicing architecture was really very good at that stage of time, 24, 25 years of age.
Yes.
And but still I had to leave office. I didn't have any other option. So I was working for him, for my husband actually. I'll not call it my office. I was working for my husband because majorly, even though he was a structural engineer, but major decisions were his only. I was not
Yes.
allowed to take decisions. And then after that, one of my seniors, Ritu ma'am, she told me that, Soma, it will be better you do something of your own. So it will
Hmm.
be better if you join some architectural institute as a teacher. So I joined a diploma college, Government Women's Polytechnic, and then I was there for uh, around 8.5 years. This is how I went into teaching.
Academy.
It was also an accident. Yes, it was not by choice, but I enjoyed teaching. And since then, since 96, January 96, I am into teaching architecture.
So you
And
are not practicing with
from
your
then
husband anymore.
onwards, no, means no, I was practicing with my husband till 2002. I was working with him, but now I have completely left because
Um,
now,
this is
since now I
interesting.
have the administrative post.
Yes. Yes. Also, you are heading the
Yes, so
institute.
and my
Hmm.
interests are more towards my work actually. My work is teaching and reading and talking to the students and learning from the students also. I enjoy that. So that has become my life now.
Yeah, because a very interesting factor which comes here, as you said, you started your family life there. Your husband was already a well-known structural engineer. I would like to relate it with my early career understanding, as I mentioned, that I was also very curious in the early career that if I was a daughter of Doshi, I would have started, from day one, doing lot of these things and all. And that myth got busted very soon when I learned what it is to be with a famous person. Of course, I'm not daughter of Doshi, but I'm just telling you. So being associated with a famous person, it is not necessarily always a boon for your own, career. Uh, as you mentioned,
Yes.
did you realize it? That's why you changed
And I
your.
think, yes, and I think for the children it is different. If the father is a well-known person, then the children, they get a good platform to start with. But it is not for the wife, because
Why?
we
Because that's a
also
tricky
grown.
thing.
Yes, and we are taught in college that architects, you are the best, and you can do your best, you can choose your career, and suddenly you come up and you find that no, you are not supposed to decide anything upon your career or your life. So that is, from there the problem starts actually. And so I tell all the girl students who have the girls who are my students, I tell them you should be self sufficient, and you should have a proper career of your choice only, and don't allow anybody else to decide your career.
No, but
uh,
having a full
yes.
set office, because this is something people should also learn from us, and especially from your experience. Because a full established office, and if one cannot really grow in a full established office, how do we expect people to grow from scratch? This is an irony. Is it because it's a spouse relationship? As you mentioned, that if it is a child, the child can prosper in the platform provided by the parents. But why can't women prosper alongside the spouse? Where do you see is the problem?
Then actually I think the understanding should be very much, there should be good understanding among the spouse
You mean
actually.
understanding of the
Because
profession or
uh,
understanding of each other?
profession,
Of the
and
profession.
actually the civil engineer, he is a civil engineer, and the civil engineers, they are taught in college like the architects, they don't do anything, they only do the elevation. So he was under this impression only that he'll be designing everything and I'll be doing the perspective and the external work only. So but I am also not a very maybe uh, means uh, means I'm also not that kind of a person that who will agree to every
Yes,
whatever the other person says, because I have my own yes or no, and maybe I'm a little stubborn in that case also. Because I thought, no, Soma, my parents have not taught me architecture to do these elevations for somebody for XYZ, and just signing on the sheets because I'm an architect, so I'll have to sign on sheets which are
which is
not designed by me.
yes,
So then that time I put my foot down. I
yeah.
said, no, I'll not do this.
But you think that it is because your professions are different, and you can also then look at my experience where we have same profession. So I think it is beyond profession also. It's not about having same profession or not having same profession. It's also about understanding of each other, and how do we look at the profession, whether same or
Yes.
different profession. So when you switched to this academic world, yeah, then you have to live three kinds of lives, because I assume in the beginning you were also helping, continue to help your office where you were already doing, and then you had children, and then you had this
Yes.
institutional responsibility. So how you were
Yes.
managing the family and work and your time? How was it, that experience?
My that time actually I kept my children in the creche. My daughter, elder daughter, since she was 10 months old, I took her to creche. I used to drop her to creche, go to college, then from college back to office after college, and then after office hours, I used to take my daughter back from creche and go home. So
But go
then
home
my
work that
son
is not,
also.
हाँ, but go home में काम खत्म नहीं होता ना.
नहीं नहीं, then another story. Yes. And So finally, actually, when my son also was there, and when he was born, after that I had two children. So then I stopped going to office. Then I
So you
did
had to
little works of
projects.
like majorly
Hmm.
writing work, the contracts and articles of agreement, all those things I started doing from home for office. And now practically I don't work for the office anymore.
So
Now
you
I
have
am completely
projects.
devoted to
Hmm.
my family and my
Teaching.
college.
Yeah. So, so when we have too many professions, so because running family itself is a profession, especially when the kids are growing,
Ye-
and you had full-time academics, and then you had practice. So at some point in time, we have to take this wise call, which is inner call also, and prioritize. What is there
Yes,
for
we
me,
have to prioritize.
and also then we
Yes.
can
So
put our fingers like okay, on the things which we like to do, which shows us some hope of our own growth.
yes.
So how were the children
So for me, I
growing with
think
architect? For me, for you. Hmm. Sorry.
children are the first priority.
uh,
They were the first priority for me, and then second, then side by side, actually my academics and my college responsibilities.
of course.
So I thought that quitting office, the office, it will not make much difference in the office if I don't go. So
Do you
then
still
I
think that?
decided with to keep.
Do you still think that?
Yes,
uh,
yes.
okay. Okay,
Yes,
listen.
I think it has not made much
Not made much difference to you or to the office or to both?
to the office. Yeah, to both, to
To
both.
both, yes. Because of course, if you have withdrawn, I'm sure there is a void which will be required to get filled up, and it will have an impact, I'm sure. Doing this balancing act with children, with academics, and of course, little bit of practice till then. And by when yeah, you were in full time doing two major projects, children and your academics, what kind of situations you actually came across where you could say that you were doing full architectural practice, and it was very satisfying for you, and some kind of memorable events where you could relate to, yes, this is what I wanted to do, and I really feel that it was a good decision to now do architecture in whatever ways you were doing. you know Tell us something about your
Actually,
realization being
taking
in the
care of
profession.
children also and
Hmm.
academics, and for that my parents were very strong supporters for me, because my
Okay.
father, after he retired, they came to Indore, and
Uh-huh.
majorly to support me because I was
Wow.
the eldest daughter. Yes. So if they won't have been here, then it would have not been possible for me to get into academics as a full time job.
Yes.
Because initially I started with a part time job in academics, and then later on, since after 2 years, 98, then I started full time teaching.
You started
After that, in
enjoying.
99, my daughter. Yes. So I had the strong support system of my parents. So they made me realize that my work is also important, and for them, our parents, our job is important. So they supported me, and they took charge of taking care of children at home, and then so because of them, I could pursue academics and be into teaching, full time teaching job.
So now you were
Yes.
bringing your babies to your parents' place, or they were actually living along with you or close by, and
No,
then you were.
when my daughter was there, my father, initially I used to drop her every day to the crash. For 1 year I did this, but her health deteriorated. So my parents, they said, no, we'll have to do something. So every day my father, they used to stay 15 kilometers away from my house, but my father used to come every day before I started for college. He used to come to my house, then he used to take charge of my daughter, and when I used to come back, he used to
Hmm.
give back the charge, and then he used to go back home. So
Wow.
they did a lot actually. And then when I went out stations, So that time I used to keep, I dropped my children to their house and then I went.
Wow, that's
So
good.
actually, they did the job actually, coming to my house and taking care of my children. So
So
then
you
only
could,
I could do academics
yes, you
properly.
could do full justice to your second profession. So when you were in now
Second,
doing, yeah, now you are doing officially full-time architecture through, of course, teaching. What kind of, architectural resolution, I will say, you were bringing in architecture education to really see that students are actually more inclined to not only learn architecture but also learn the business of doing architecture, having you gone through it, you know like one of the
yes,
mentions which
yes,
you are doing, talking about, that make yourself self-sufficient. But what kind of design,
yes.
I will say, design approach, or what kind of professional approach you were inculcating in students, so because that they are becoming better human beings, apart from, of course, being women.
From the initial time only, when the word sustainability, the so-called sustainability word didn't come before 1987, but I tried inculcating that, like, value based education in the students, so that
Hmm.
they should learn the value based education. They not only architecture, but it is a social science, it is a architecture is a subject of social science also. So because that is there, the difference is between a contractor, a civil engineer, and an architect.
Yes,
Otherwise, the technical people, they know everything about, they think that they know everything about architecture, but they don't know the psychology and sociology of the people, the
yes,
users, the
they
social
can
context
construct.
of it. So yes, so I think, like for urban designing also and for architecture also, it is not merely a geometry of spaces.
Yes,
It is a not a geometrical exercise, just a geometrical exercise. They should know the value based values behind those things, and I try to inculcate these in the children when I talk to means, and I like research also. I taught them how to do, starting from primary study and doing proper research in any area. Whatever XYZ topic they bring to
yeah,
me, and they say, like, and the students are free to ask anything to me, because
yeah,
they once a girl came and she said, ma'am, why we should have temples and churches and mosques separately? Why we cannot have just one
one
campus?
religion.
Because
Hmm.
we have so much problem in the city in one building. So I said, yes, we can do, but it is not you and me to decide. We'll have to ask the users first. So you do a survey. Then she came up with such a nice this thing. 80% of the people, they thought in the same way,
Like
even
this.
if they are Muslims or they are Hindus, but they want to practice the things together. So these things, this is the value. I thought the students, if from the young age they learn the
Yes,
value system, then it will be good, because they are very good at softwares now. The students
yes,
which we didn't know the softwares, they know Grasshopper, Rhino, and so many softwares. They can bring out anything, but what to bring out, that
yes.
they
The
should know.
soul, the soul of the
There the
society.
difference, that is soul of, yes, that is architecture actually. For me, that is
It's a,
architecture.
you really said it in very nice way. Where is the difference between architecture and architects, of course, and other profession? Because everybody can build.
Yes,
It's not the problem. It's but what to build and how to build and for whom and what should we bring in is an important aspect of it. Any memorable
yes.
project or any memorable incidents of working with somebody or at any project where you really felt that, okay, this is something which I really cherished and I feel content being in my profession. I'm sure there are many, but we would like to hear one mention where you felt as a woman, as an architect, that I was really content. It can be any kind of work, research or education or even practice. I mean, we have all these options, or even community mobilization. Or so anything which you would like to say about it, that okay, this was.
Means
aha
in
moment.
we have an NGO also. We have made one NGO that is Ubuntu for that is for urban heritage structures. So in that, once the students of Idea College, they came to Indore, and I took them to places, and I told them about the history, and that everybody, all historians or other conservation architects, they tell them. But I told them the inner this thing, inner soul of each and every building of the Indore city, and how they have, why they have come up. And those students, they were very happy, and the way they praised me means they acknowledged it very nicely. So that is one of my very good experience. I took them for heritage work. And second, then I did one hospital. I designed one hospital at Khandwa, Prakash Hospital. For that the lady was also that the owner is also a lady. So I enjoyed working with her. She is a gynecologist, and her husband is an orthopedic surgeon. So I worked with them, and there I they whatever I told them, I gave them the human touch, the human. So now also they say that even my kitchen, I don't go to the kitchen very often, but I love the kitchen designed by you, and all the spaces. I even design paintings for them. I means in my free time I like to make paintings. So I made paintings for their lobby and other spaces also. So that is also, that is a very
Nice.
good experience. And
So
then yes, and
you
I have many
handcrafted.
dissertation and thesis.
Yes.
Yes,
Dissertations are very
one of my
fulfilling.
students, he redesigned the zoo.
He designed a he des-
Redesigned the zoo, indoor zoo. So
wow.
that project also I enjoyed very much, because I love animals also. I think that like the human beings, they should be sensitive enough. And over the period, like means I have grown affinity towards, more affinity towards animals, and I think they share their love unconditionally. They
Yes.
don't deserve anything. They only want food and shelter and only love from you. All the animals, even maybe the tigers and panthers, people, they should. So he redesigned the zoo very nicely. And his project, it has been implemented, it has been taken up by the smart city indoor project.
Very nice.
And that was designed way back in 2010. But now the stakeholders, they have taken his drawings and they are using it. So
Wow.
that is an achievement for a teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. We are always happy when the students do very well and they shine. But I'm seeing that you are already inculcating these sustainability principles into your students. So it's good to know that. I would like to know
Yes.
more from again the woman angle, because now in academics, we see there are a lot of women joining academics, and you being in academics nearly for 20 years now.
Yes, more than 20, since 96. It has
Yes,
been
so
around
more than
25
25
years.
years. Okay, great. So, what do you think the kind of physical and psychological benefits or aspects of being woman comes into picture when we are in this situation in academic environment? You know?
Yes, I think women are more sensitive. They are more sensitive for designing humane environment. Rather
Mm-hmm.
than boys, the girls are more sensitive. So I think more and more girls, if they come into academics, and they shouldn't come into academic just for earning money. It should be their passion, and they should have the urge of teaching and learning from the students, because every day we learn a new thing from our
Yes.
students.
Yes,
So girls
absolutely.
are they are more sensitive, no doubt about it. So
No, but
and
you
if
as a woman,
proper,
you as a woman
yes.
in the profession, what kind of physical and psychological aspects you face being woman in the profession?
Um, uh, Means when I was young, that time I used to be very, the children, they used to be friendly with me, and now they find a motherly character in me, and so it is more easier for me to teach
Okay.
them and teach them the values. They learn it, they learn, and they think it, take it. in a positive sense, that yes, she is a motherly character, and she is telling, so, and from her experience she is telling us these things, so better to follow her. So they follow it blindly.
So
And
I,
most of the colleagues also, they are my students, they are my ex students who are working with me. So that has been an advantage.
yeah, I'm sure. But when you are actually practicing as a teacher now and doing your own research, I also know that in between you went to your master's and PhD and completed those things with great zeal. So you are also publishing nowadays a lot. What do you think as a woman in the profession, we still have some opportunities? Do you find that being woman is also an opportunity in the profession and there is some gap which we are filling up?
There is gap in the profession.
Yes, which we are able to fill up.
No, I think in academics, actually, in academics, the women are, I think they are at par with men. So we don't have to do, means we don't have to rub our shoulders, or we don't have to work a lot for that. Only the sensitivity has to be increased more. Otherwise, we are not facing that much of problem. Nowadays there are no, uh, the issue is not big now.
Yeah, especially in academics, there is more equality. But you
Yes.
mentioned something very interesting that if more women come into architecture, we can be more sensitized towards sustainability and
Yes.
all. If I give you statistics that actually in India, half of the girl population in architecture and half are boys population in architecture. What do you think are the reasons that once they are getting out of the college, the proportion of men and women in architecture profession gets skewed? In college it is almost at par now, more same number of girls and boys in the college. So where is it getting changed? So is it again back to our childhood,
So,
younger generation that being women, people diversify
yes.
or
For
change? Sorry.
yes,
Hmm.
for the girls, actually sustaining in the field, actually as an architect, it is difficult, because the
You
mentality
still
of the
think so?
men in profession, that has not changed.
That has
Yes,
not
yes,
changed.
it is.
Hmm.
So it is comfortable. It is more comfortable for the girls to come into academics. So that's
Okay.
why, for me also, that was the reason of coming to academics, and eventually I've started loving this profession as a teacher. But in many cases they don't have a choice, actually sustaining in, because the boys, actually what they do is they come into teaching, but side by side they want to do they practice their architecture also. And in between the classes also, they start making their drawings and working for their office. But the girls, they don't do like this. Girls, they are sincere, I think they are more
More
sincere.
honest.
And maybe they feel afraid that, like, we are doing this profession, so we have to be honest as a teacher. But the boys are not like this. So most of the boys, after doing graduation, they end up being a teacher, but they remain as a teacher for maybe 1 or 2 years, and after that they leave. They
It's a
think that no,
financial.
profession is
It's a
better.
financial
Financial.
security, I think.
Yes,
Uh,
financial
so
sector.
yeah. So I think as a woman, you see that academic is kind of a safer area or
Safer.
more comfortable area to
Yes.
prosper.
Yes,
Then
yes, for a
then
girl.
don't you think that women teaching architecture should be also considered architect or they should remain as teachers?
No, we are architects because we are making so many architects every year.
Yes.
We are architect makers,
How do you
and
change it?
yes, but actually, when I receive phone call from vendors and I tell them that I am teaching architecture, so they say, "Oh, okay, ma'am." Then they'll put
Okay,
down
bye
the
bye.
phone. They'll think
Okay.
this is not our commercial prospect. They don't
They,
see any commercial prospect in us.
so,
So
like in the medical,
that's the
they are
problem.
very good teachers and practitioners together. And of course, in
Yes,
architecture
yes,
also, we see that there are teachers and practitioners together, who are practicing both. Many women have faced this difficulty to do both, but at the same time, I'm looking at many women who are doing both as well. So, as women, because in architecture you are probably facing this in architecture education, you are facing this situation lesser. But have you been made to realize after your early career that you are woman in this profession in the recent time by anyone, or do you think you have overcome that, or people don't dare to ask you, or have you been made realize that you are a woman in this profession sometime in the
Yes,
recent
I've
upper
been realized many times by men. Yeah,
by
that
men or
and
by
I
women?
think like and actually the women who are doing both the things, they are not doing means the women whom I know, they are not doing full time teaching.
Yeah,
They can be visiting faculty members or expert lecturers, or doing some they have taken the teaching as a expert because they love academics. So they wanted to get themselves joined in within any institute, any good institute, any big name. But for them the practice is more important. So that's why they are able to do both the things. Because means I've seen so many girls, young girls, who are coming to profession, but and boys also. So boys, they are doing their office work in college also, but the girls are not. And I think girls are more sincere. They are, if given any task, and they'll do that task only. So if the teacher is a visiting faculty member or an expert lecturer, expert for maybe some people, there are some people who become just this is guides. So they'll guide good students, and then so in this way they'll be attached to academics, and they'll be doing their uh, pursuing their architecture practice also. So but it was not possible for me. I had to choose one, so i
yeah. But you're
i
enjoying
chose
very much.
academic.
You are enjoying it very
Yes,
much.
yes.
So that's a very important
I'm
aspect.
enjoying, but this in this pandemic time, actually, I have realized that no, actually, I should have been continued with my practice also and teaching also, because
What
this
makes you think?
pandemic has taught that only.
What makes you think like that?
Yes, because maybe because of some financial problems in
Okay.
this pandemic situation. Because yes, in the colleges also, the like ours is a private college, and the leave the government colleges or the A grade colleges. It is in Indore is not a very good city as far as architecture is concerned. So we have 2 3 colleges only. And so the students are also not very keen in learning architecture. So during this time I have realized that no, I should have continued with my architecture profession also side by side.
You
Then
can
it,
still
it
start. There is
but
no
now it is not possible.
now it is not possible. Okay, I leave it that question there for you to think and take time about it. But of course, we are practicing all the time. We are researching all the time. And you did your PhD also in the very similar lines. So it was also a learning for you. So
Urban
I'm sure.
transformation and
Yeah.
sustainability modeling.
Yes. My next question is related to this as well as being woman. So I want you to imagine a situation in a city or in the society, uh, a reverse situation where more women are in leading architectural positions and projects and decision making. Do you think cities would have looked different? So imagine more women are in architecture practice and doing things and changing. So do you think cities will be different? Uh, do you think so?
No, it will be very good if more and more women
No,
come forward and
no,
join the profession.
I'm saying you to imagine a situation where, let's say, in Indore there are 200 male architects and 20 female architects. Just a situation. Now reverse the situation and imagine that there are 200 women architects and 20 male architects. How would the city look different?
city will look more sensitive, and it will not be so much commercial, and it will not be just geometrical lines. It will be more humane if the more and more architects will come forward, more female architects come forward. Because for urban designing also, given if the project is given to a man, he'll be thinking like Le Corbusier, sitting in some other place and designing a city, putting but if the project same project is given to a girl or a woman architect, she'll go to that place and she'll survey, she'll find out who are the people living there, how many trees are there which should be taken care of, how many water bodies who which are to be preserved. So then the urban designing, the total urban designing will be different, I think, if
The
women come
cities will
forward.
look different. So, don't you think then we have
Yes.
an extra responsibility that apart from teaching sustainability to people both gender, I will say students, because as teachers we don't make discrimination between girl student and boy student. It's just students for us. So, apart from teaching them
Yes, yes.
sustainability, apart from teaching them sustainability, do you think we should take an extra responsibility to chupke se to teach the girl students ki how can they sustain as practitioners? Because if we want to change the way cities look, we also know that we need more women architects. And I completely believe in that, and you are also suggesting that it may happen because it's a hypothetical situation. But if we want to imagine cities to be more human, more sustainable, and we think women can bring that change, do you think we need to do something additional in our way of teaching, especially both to men and women?
Yeah,
Uh,
as a teacher also. Yes, yes. As teacher also, as mothers also, the women, the girls, they should be taught at home also that they have major responsibilities, and they should understand their responsibility. Then only they'll come forward, because many girls are there after doing graduation, they comfortably get married and settle with some businessmen, or they don't continue with the architecture profession. So from the academic stage only, when they are doing undergraduation, we should teach them.
we have
I
to
tell the
also
girls
say,
that you have to do post graduation after this, after, because you'll have to be self sufficient. This I
yeah,
tell each and every girl,
we also
and
have
this
to
is
teach
actually a
boys.
girls' college.
Yes, but we also have to teach boys
Yes,
how to accommodate girls in the profession. I mean, women profession.
accommodate girls. Exactly, exactly.
Not like the way
Yes,
you started your career, where an architect says, "I will take both of you," without saying that at the cost of one having one man.
yes,
Wonderful. We are reaching towards the end of the conversation. I know we can just go on and on knowing each other for so many years about these aspects.
yes.
But I would like you to give some strong message for the younger generation. Even though you are teaching in just girls' college, then you have more responsibility for giving them business skills so that they can not only complement with the society's requirements, but also compete with the more men architects who are getting into profession. So, what will be the kind of message you would like to give to both? To all architects, to be honest, not men or women per se, but importantly, to become more woman friendly profession, to make women more inclusive in the profession. What kind of message you would like to give to the younger generation? How can women more practice more and to be called architects?
First of all, we'll have to inculcate the culture of value based education in
Yes.
everybody, starting from the school level, for the
Yeah.
small kids also, so that an ambient environment is created for research and knowledge sharing between boys and girls, everybody. And they should be enabled to learning towards excellence with the professional disposition between other professions also. uh,
Yes.
this is missing in the today's generation. So I think this, the professional disposition also should be taught to them, and they should be able to inculcate this within their colleagues and their friends. And I would like to make the students sensitive for designing sustainable and a humane environment. This I am telling very means I'm telling every time, but
Yes, that,
this is the major thing. I should the students, if all the students, be the boys and girls, they should strive for creating better environment which is sustainable and more humane environment. And architecture is not just geometry and putting geometry into space. That they should be sensitive and humane creation. So this message I would like to tell
but
the
how to make
architecture
it?
new
Yeah,
students.
but how to make it more women inclusiveness? What should we
Through
do?
sensitivity, through putting sensitivity into each and everything, through designing the pen stand which is behind you, and to for the
Yes,
paperweights also, for from starting from product designing to everything, to all the design aspects, to by putting more sensitivity, by having actually love for everything, love for animals, love for nature, love for the trees and the water body in your society. The children, they should be passionate enough, and they should love to have love for all the things. So that has to be developed by we teachers.
absolutely, absolutely. Oh, that's good message, I think, for all the younger generation. And I hope you had also good time having this conversation
Yes, yes,
as
perfect.
we come
Very
towards
nice.
the end of it. And you see, it's
Yes.
not a difficult thing, huh? It's not a
No,
difficult,
no. It is very nice, very interesting.
but people are
I
just
enjoy it.
giving, people are just shying away from giving me interview slots, thinking that I'm asking some difficult questions, you know. Uh, so,
No,
so
but it was a simple conversation. I
it
find
is
it very interesting.
it is meant for as a conversation, and we are going to pick things out of it, and we are going to develop it. We do come towards the end of this interview, and I would like to thank you again for taking out time from your
Thank
busy schedule, because you, I know that you are leading the institute, so it's not easy to be away from everybody, every task for more than an hour with me. And it's really nice that you could find this time. And I would like to thank you again, and I will come back to you with the edited version of the video, and also the transcription of this conversation, to take your consent, and as well as take your consent for making this video live. Okay, so I hope you are fine if the video goes live later on. Yeah.
you. Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
Soma,
you
and
so much.
yeah, and thank you, Soumya, being here for us. Uh, so I look forward to more conversations, probably out of this research and outside the research. We can always connect. And thank you very much. Take care.